Welcome to the Hot Slice podcast. This is the podcast by Pizza Today magazine to talk all things pizza business. I am your host, Denise Greer, executive editor here at Pizza Today, and I'm rocking it solo today. So just like Jeremy did last week, I guess it's my turn to rock it solo this week. Let's talk a little bit about what's happening right now. It is August. Today, if you're listening to this on Thursday, it is now August, which is unreal to me that we're already in August, but it also means that fall is coming. So I hope you're excited for what's to come with those fall menus. There's a little bit of clearinghouse we need to talk about. So the Pie Awards are going to, we're going to have the final deadline for the Pie Awards coming up very soon. So I know that you probably are rocking it in your business. And if you think that you want to go out for one of those categories, get in there now and, and complete your entry so that we can take a look at them. Then the other thing is we have our industry survey that is going to come out very, very soon. So you'll get tapped on email and social media and the Pizza Today website and on here to fill out the survey. We want as many pizzeria operators to complete this survey as we possibly can. That way we're always gathering the best intel on what's happening in the pizzeria business. So look for that. And then let's talk about July for a second. So in July, we featured rising stars of the pizzeria industry. We got together with a lot of industry professionals and asked them, who's up and coming? Who are folks that you see that are on your radar that you're watching right now? And so we highlighted some in the July issue. And today, I'm so happy to be able to talk to our guests. They happen to be our cover models for the Pizza Today magazine for July, but that is Jillana Miller and Ahmad Butler, and they are owners of Miller Butler in San Pedro, California. What I love about their business, they are a pandemic baby. Their business was born out of the pandemic, and they're rising up through the ranks and getting a name for themselves as a mobile pizzeria. And they're operating out of doing catering and pop-ups. They're doing great things. The one thing I love about these two is you're going to hear it on the podcast is learning, the amount of knowledge that they are constantly seeking, because they're coming into this not in the pizzeria industry as many people come into the industry. So the learning of everything from the business side to pizza making, to operations, to employee management. They're learning something new all the time. And I think that is so important no matter what phase of business you're in. It's like today, I'm testing the indirect dough method versus the direct dough method. And I'll fire off those pies at some point and kind of look at what the difference is between two of the same pizzas, that one's the indirect method and one is the direct method. With the indirect, I'm using a Polish. So we'll see how that works. So it's like in this industry, you're always looking to learn. So they're going to dive into that. And I'm excited to see where their business goes. So let's just jump into our conversation with Jillana and Ahmad.
Performance Food Service is proud to deliver high-quality products, innovative technology, and custom operational solutions to restaurants of all sizes across the country. The flagship division of Performance Food Group, with deep roots in the restaurant industry, Performance Food Service has been the exclusive distributor of the Roma family of brands for more than 65 years. This signature relationship has allowed Performance Food Service to become a leader in the pizza and Italian segment of food service nationwide.
I'm Genevieve Ruby, a fifth-generation dairy farmer here in Humboldt County, California. Did you know that 99% of California's dairy farms are family-owned? And we're proud to sustainably produce the milk that goes into quality cheeses you use to create your delicious pizzas. Thanks for helping make California not only America's #1 dairy state, but the leading producer of mozzarella too. We hope you enjoy this podcast.
All right. Well, welcome to the podcast, y'all. Thanks for popping on.
Good to be
Thank you
here.
for having us.
Excellent. So if you haven't seen the July issue of Pizza Today, you might actually, if you're watching the YouTube, you might actually notice this couple was on the cover of Pizza Today magazine. So we did a thing on rising stars, and you very much are a rising star in the industry, and I just love what you're doing. Can you tell us a little bit about Miller Butler a little bit?
Go for it.
I guess we could start with the obvious or the simple. I'm the Miller, so it's our family name. The
Yeah.
Miller, Ahmad is the Butler. We really value our family roots a lot. So when we're starting this up, we came up with that name. It sounds like a law firm, but we actually make pizza.
Yeah. Yeah, we started up during the pandemic, kind of one of those pandemic businesses that started up out of necessity. You know, rent was coming due, the unemployment checks and all the stimulus checks had stopped, and we were making pasta in our home and trying to sell that. We weren't really doing very well with it.
Yeah.
Just have to,
Well, you have to sell
have to make a
lot
lot
of
of pasta
Yeah, I got you.
to really make money. And yeah, once everything started opening back up, we found a flea market, you know, because everything had to be outside. We found a little flea market that would let us make food, and we thought about making pasta, but he was kind of feeling the pizza idea when we mentioned it. So we ran with that. We had a little uni pizza oven, and we honestly didn't know much about what we were doing at the time, but we knew we needed to make some money that weekend. So
yeah, it was definitely a money move.
yeah. And it worked out. It was great. It was just the two of us in our little 10 by 10 tent making pizzas. We made about 40 or 50 that first day, and
we'd never done a pizza pop-up. So I grew up making pizza, but still hadn't fully dialed in, but I was very familiar with it. And so when we had this opportunity to sell hot food, I kind of just threw it out there knowing we have this little uni, like, what can we sell? You know? And when he gave the green lights on pizza, I said, okay, no problem. Like, we'll see you this weekend. So we kind of just like figured it out on the fly for that first one. And we had a great time doing it. You know, we walked home with some cash, which was really, what's the word I'm looking for? It was a relief. And we're like, okay, let's keep doing this. And it was just me taking orders. I'd turn around, shape, and then he'd fire them. So it was a very small operation. I feel like pretty quickly Ahmad kind of fell in love with the pizza process making. You know what I mean? Pizza making process.
for sure.
And I mean, our pizzas have definitely like evolved and grown up since then.
Yeah.
Like sometimes we see pictures of those first pizzas and people loved them and they were good.
They were good.
They were good, but we're like, oh,
it's cringeworthy now.
like,
That's funny.
you know, like, so it's been really amazing to see him kind of like dive into studying dough. And you know, in the beginning, he would just be, the dough was different, a little different every week. And he wouldn't say anything. And then I try and be like, this is different, you know, until we kind of
found one where, you know, she was like, oh, these doughs are perfect. These are perfect today.
Absolutely.
Like, right on, got it. Yeah. So it's a good process. And ever since then, it's been going from just transitioning from survival mode to sustainable mode, you know. And you know, it's been a learning process for sure. Definitely learning every week. We're learning something new, and
in every department, I think, you know. And so with that first location was at the Los Feliz Flea, which is about 45 minutes from us. But that wasn't really sustaining, so we started exploring other options. I'll try to keep it in clip notes because it's kind of, you know, I can talk. But long story short, you know, the wind like blew our oven out one day there, and we were stuck. It's a flea market, so you can't even leave.
Oh, wow.
And so all these doughs, and we just we couldn't keep the oven on, and so we just had to sit there for like 5 hours not selling doughs. And it was at a time we really needed to sell those doughs. so we're driving home. And when we got home, I just was like, man, what are we going to do? And I looked downstairs and I said, let's just try selling pizza down there tomorrow.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we created a quick pop-up on our block, and it was really like a leap of faith. We're like, no matter what, let's just try it. But what we found when we did that was like, it was really amazing. We really got to know our neighbors.
Yeah.
You know, like we really didn't know our neighborhood, and the neighborhood was so grateful. They're like, it's hot, fresh food. There's not a lot of that around here at all. It's mostly liquor stores. So, you know, we really didn't sell much, but we said, let's do this every Sunday. And from there, it really, really blossomed.
Yeah, it's been huge for us.
Yeah. So
now here we
awesome.
are, rising
Right
stars
on.
off.
Well,
Like,
you
yeah.
got me thinking about 100 questions. I love it, because I love when guests, like, I ask you something and then you're off and you just go. It's amazing.
Yeah, I try not to go too far off.
No, I love it. I love it. The big question that I kind of wanted to talk to you about, that process you were talking about with the pizza making process. You know, what really elevated your dough, because now you're just known in that area. Like, when you think of great pizza, your name comes up in the LA market. So what, you know, what did it take to elevate that pizza from being a home cook? Hey, I've made pizza all my life, and hey, I haven't made pizza hardly ever, to becoming this elevated brand of pizza?
Right. I think it was really about just studying, you know what I mean? Like, I had no idea what was going on. I've made pizzas before in like the home oven. I enjoy cooking, so I had made pizza before, but just like the idea that I didn't know what I was doing really forced me to like go and study and like learn, you know?
Yeah.
And so when I got into it and just saw how like simple it was on one hand, but also how like, if you're paying attention, small little adjustments would just make a world of difference, you know? So to me, it was like, all right, cool. Like, this is awesome. Like, I got the same recipe basically everybody else does, but it's about how I move. And partially, you know, I'm a little bit of you know, I believe in manifestation, right? So I'm like, if I truly believe that the intent that I'm putting into this is what I want it to be, like, that's gonna happen, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm like, this yeast, it feels like it's alive. I gotta keep it, you know, keep it going, you know, and all these different processes. So like when it got down to it, I got the recipe from her dad, Chef Frank Miller. It was really cool, super helpful. Anytime you ask him for something, he's like, here's the recipe, you know? So I got his recipe, and that first week we went out there and it was just like blowing out because it was hot. And just like, what do we do with it? You know, and then like tried it something different, kept it in the fridge a little longer. That worked a little bit, but at a certain point, they just blow out again. Like, oh my goodness. Like, then we start freezing them. We start looking at videos, like, how can you freeze these things? And then we get out there and some of them still be frozen.
We thought it was so hot, and like, it was just novice, you know?
It's complete stuff. So just like mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake. And then at a certain point, it's like, got it.
Yeah.
You know,
the whole idea of failing forward, right? Like you just fail forward always.
Like, it's like, I got it. I was sitting at home one day and I was like, I love about this is that it's slow at first. It takes forever, right? Everything together, you mix it up and you just let it sit there. You twiddle your thumbs. And then when it's ready, you ball it up and you get out there, 3 minutes. Now it's action time. Like, boom.
The whole time lead up to it is this.
So it became this sort of thing for me. That was in my mind. Like, time is the magic.
It is.
The magic is the time. Letting it sit, letting it ferment, letting it do its thing. Paying attention to temperature. How humid is it out here? How cold is it? How all these things begin to like come into play. And so it just became this sort of like dance a little bit with the dough, where it's like, all right, we got it. It looks ready. It's looking perfect. Now we got 3 minutes to get this thing off and 10 minutes to get it to the customer. And like all of a sudden you're like in go mode. And so for me, that was just like this exciting thing. And I honestly didn't believe a lot of people were like, they would come up, this dough is magnificent. I'm like, they're just trying to be nice. They see us out here sweating. They're just trying to be nice to us, you know? And like, that probably went on for a year. So after a while, I was like, wait a minute. I think they're right. They're telling the truth right now. This, like, I put a lot of work into this. I put a lot of love into this. Like, this is really good dough. I think we've nailed it, you know, and it's still a process. Like,
it's still always evolving.
Yeah, like right
now,
now,
weather always dictates a lot.
It's hot right now, you know, and I'm like, okay, in the winter, I could let the dough sit there for 24 hours almost. It'd be like, never got over 60 degrees in the house. Now it's like 75 degrees. I'm just like, oh my God. I'm like, flip, boom, 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 move things around. Everything's great. Yeah, refold, do this, do that. But it works because the intention is greatness, right?
Yeah.
The intention is an enjoyable meal. And to me, I feel like every week is slightly different. It's never like the same thing, but it's always good. And so that's the goal, that it's always going to be good. For us, it's like, man, it's a little wet today. It's a little sticky. It's a little
by the hour too, you know, when you're working outside. And it's so funny because we know another mobile pizzeria they want us to come try their pizza, and they said, no, come. We open at 7, but don't come then, you know. I'm like, I know, I get it. You know, the doughs are really prime a couple hours in.
Right.
For most situations, you know what I mean? They're just popping like a couple hours in. They've had enough time. But yeah, and I think the flour definitely has made a big difference.
Yeah. That was a big part of our search when we were dialing in the recipe, is we were like using like AP at one point, and then we found a Restaurant Depot, a more pizzeria based flour. We started using that. We're like, we need 00. We gotta find some Italian 00. And you can find it in small.
It's so expensive. We're can't do this. Like, you can't, retail price is ridiculous. So it was amazing. A customer from the block actually put us onto it. Said, I know this guy Lorenzo at Cinque Stagioni. Next thing you know, like, we're getting wholesale Stagioni. And I really think that changed a lot.
That changed everything, for sure. That made the biggest difference.
It made a huge difference. So
with the quality of the flour. And then from there, we were like off and running. Once we got the link with Stagioni and
and a team.
And a team. Right.
I was like, you guys now have employees and everything.
About, like, showing other people how to do it.
Yeah.
You know.
You know, as your pizza has evolved, your business has grown and evolved right with the pizza. You know, let's talk a little bit about how your business has been able to grow and kind of where it's at right now, where it's at today.
Well, it's grown. It definitely has grown with the community, word of mouth. It's just been like, you know, popping. Most of the things we do are within a 20-mile radius of, you know,
that's good.
Most things. Yeah. Every now and then we have to go up into like Beverly Hills, or we'll go in over to Long Beach is within 20 miles, you know. So, but most things we're able to do here in the LA Harbor area, and it's been great, just kind of growing organically. And I think a big part of it is that we don't say no a lot of times. I think we've kind of been like, we need to like say no. Sometimes people are like, hey, can you do this? And we're like, sure. Then we go sit down and like, all right, how are we going to do
this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like also, you know, when we first started, when we met, I worked as a private chef for years. I was chef. You know what I mean? Like, that's part of my identity. When we started this business, we really had to divide and conquer a little bit.
Yeah.
So he was making all the dough.
Yeah.
You know, I do the shopping, I'd help with some prep, but like I was putting on social media and talking to clients. And, you know, when we started to get like consistent clients is really exciting. But there was some resistance from me a little bit in the beginning. Just, I felt like I had like FOMO, like, you know what I mean? Like, I just like, felt like I was missing out on having my hands in the food more. And, but then it kind of clicked. I just was like, you know what? first of all, there's no choice. If we want to succeed, I've got to lean all the way into this business element. You know what I mean? And I'm like, this will be fun. I'm going to try to be the best businesswoman I can be. I'm going to try to learn as much as possible, read as much as possible. And so I've been able to like discover a different side of me. And, you know, just continue to learn, which is something I really love.
Right.
And so that's helped.
Yeah. And it's been really cool too, because like one of the things you would say like early on is like, oh, wow, I can like taste myself in this food, you know, even though she hadn't prepared it. I was working off of her recipes. I'd been watching her for the years prior, like cook here at home and stuff. Or I'd worked with her clients a few times. So I kind of saw the process. And so, you know, after a while, it was like when it was just me, you know, she was like, okay, like,
I trust.
Like I
totally trust. That's part of it. It was like, oh, okay, like you can do it as good, if not better. You know what I mean? And like as a private chef, like I did some catering. I've done a lot of things in the food industry, but I was solo private chef for many years. And in those situations, there's no one under you. You're everything. Yeah. So like have control. So when he really, you know, Ahmad is really talented in the kitchen, and now we're working toward him delegating, you know, onto someone else as we grow. So, but yeah, and social media has definitely been a helpful tool for us in the business growth.
Yeah. And right now it's sort of our next phase, I think, is, and we talked about it in the article, is really just like getting away from this sort of combination, like using community kitchens. And you know, we have our cottage license, so we can make we have a pasta room, well, we call it the pasta room. Now it's a dough.
We still call it the pasta room.
Right?
That's funny.
We can make our dough, store our dough here. So this sort of combination thing is like, it's hard.
Pretty, like, it's pretty insane what we're doing out of here.
Right.
Like, so our next goal is
to try and find our own kitchen.
Our own production kitchen.
Right. But we're able to separate our lives, our business life and our home life, you know what I mean? And like, and get everything sort of dialed into just one place, and we're not, you know, going all these different places to try and bring it together, you know? So that's going to be a big step for us. Neither one of us were creatives. We weren't really brought up in sort of a business sort of mindset. And so that part we're learning a lot about, you know. For me, taxes is just like,
I know.
But like, it's all part of it,
you
know, and we're just like, you know, trying to figure out, get financing for that, and figure out and find investors or partners or some, you know, format where we can like gain capital and like share some responsibility without losing integrity or losing control. You know what I mean? Like, because we know there's a lot of good people out there who see us and would want to help us grow. And we know there's other people out there who see us and like, cool, we can take advantage of that.
And make us their employee.
You know, like, and we don't, we really enjoy what we're doing. We're looking to this business as like something that's going to sort of propel our family
100%,
you know, into the future. And we see our little daughter, she's 2.5, and she sees us making pizzas and making dough, and she loves it. And she loves cooking with us and stuff. And so it's just like, for us, it's something so important that we want to hold on to and grow with. And
but we still need the capital.
We need the capital.
I understand.
We're learning so much every day. And so, but it's good.
Yeah, it's good
to wake up in the morning and realize you don't know something. And by the time you go to sleep, realize you just learned something new and you're able to implement it the next day and keep that process going, you know?
And just like cultivating the discipline to focus on things that are not easy for us. You know what I mean? Like some of the, for us, and that's what I think that's part of what growing a business is. Like at one stage, you know, contracts and client communication are the big challenge, you know? Then you master that. Then it's the next thing. That's the next thing. Right now, we're in a space where we're really like trying to educate ourselves and explore investors and really just, or what our answer is to move forward. Because we started from scratch, you know what I mean? Really from nothing, you know what I mean? I don't want to say nothing because that's not right, but very little.
Very little, and I mean, it's, and God bless them for people who are able to save money and start their business with a nice little nest egg, and be like, all right, here we go. I'm jumping into this, but for us, it wasn't that. It was like, just gather up all our little money we have left and go buy some flour and some cheese and like, let's see what happens, so, and we've been kind of going from that throughout this whole process. And now it's finally starting to look like something more. So it's exciting for us to be there.
Yeah, it's kind of fun because you're not alone in this. You're so not alone in this because there's so many mobile pizzerias and pizzerias that have popped up as products of the pandemic. I mean, I talk to them all the time. So the things that you're going through, I actually would love to get like a focus group together of people that are in here saying,
like I could
just to kind of explore it because there are a lot of businesses that are products of the pandemic, and to look at where you've come since then, starting a business at zero and building it to where it is now. You guys have come a long way. Kind of the one thing I definitely want, because we talked a little bit before we came onto the podcast, a little bit about you had some crowd funding for your catering van. Tell me about that process and how that worked to help you get to that point where you could get a new catering van.
Yeah, I'll let Jillana talk about it, but she was huge when it came down to it. She was relentless, and so it was really amazing thing to watch. Like, she saw the opportunity and the potential there, and she went after it, and it was like, and in those moments where it slowed down, she was just like, no, we got to pick it up again. Let's go.
It was hard. It was hard. I think that's important, like information of value to share with people too, who are going to do a crowdfunding, is that like, it can be a wonderful way. It also, it provides your fans and your community to give back in a way that they want to, and like really feel good about it.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, it's pretty extraordinary, like how much, people support certain businesses. So, but yeah, I was a little afraid to do it, to be honest, I was just, it's putting yourself out there in a pretty big way. But we were really, we have a toddler at that time. She was even like younger, and trying to juggle all this stuff. It just started becoming pretty crazy. And like having to, okay, let me drop the stuff off, and then I'll go get the car seat, and then I'll, you know what I mean? To like make it fit. So we took a stab at it and really put a lot of time into like writing down our intentions for the crowdfunding. And one thing that was very important to us was, one, making it a very interactive process with our customer base, because they've been an interactive part of the process from the jump. From to visit us on the block and telling their friends, and them telling their friends. And so they've been a really, really active in that. So I wanted to make the crowdfunding, with them, and make sure they get some swag, you know what I mean, when they donate. So, they didn't do it for the swag, but we provided like hoodies and stuff like that. And so you have to budget for that in your crowd.
And that's marketing as well. So it works.
It's marketing. I learned a lot of marketing in it. We connected with a local friend who is a videographer, and she worked with us. And helped us make some videos kind of telling a little bit of our story. And that was incredibly helpful, because as you know, the attention span is like this these days. So how can you tell your story in a very quick amount of time so people know what you're asking for and why? So we did that, and it just, the whole process really just, it kind of threw us even deeper into the community. Because the feedback on the first day that it went live, we were just like, what? People were immediately donating, not only donating, the comments on the video on Instagram, just, they made me emotional. They were so valuable and like authentic, and saying, hey, you guys work the hardest. We see you. We want you to succeed. And really like acknowledging specific stuff. So it was very cool. What else?
I think we got lucky in a way, you know. They say about luck, it's about just like opportunity, right? And like putting yourself in those spaces. But like, yeah, with April, you know, who does documentaries and works in marketing, like to have her down the street from us was like, oh wow, that's awesome. And then on the other corner to have Cali Mucho, who are screen printers and who are down and were willing to like trade services for pizza, like that's lucky. Like, wow, you don't get that every day, you know.
Right.
And every now and then they'll still show up with one of the little coupons we
Right.
made for them.
They have pizza for life, literally. It's just like, oh, Cali Mucho. I'd be like 80 years old getting Miller Butler.
It's just like a bunch of people, you know, like when the folks at the Chamber of Commerce, super helpful. A lot of, you know, just people around town. And like I say, it's lucky, but really we built those relationships beforehand, and it was just the right time and the right moment, and everything just like came together in just the right way. And so
it's about awesome. Like, I don't know, it's a give and take, you know? And like, obviously that journey, we were already so motivated to like pour into the community, and we're doing such before the campaign.
Yeah.
But then, like, once the campaign got popping, it's just like, we're like, we got you on everything. You know what I mean? Because I believe that like giving and seeing, even though we really do not have a lot,
right,
but in the ways that we can give to the community and like, you know, acknowledge the abundance that we can share, which is the ability to make pizza and bring people together with food. We give that wherever we can, you know. And we did a community day toward the end or the middle of the campaign where we partnered with a local screen printer and basically threw a party for the neighborhood.
Oh, and I love that.
It was amazing. We made pizzas, we had live music. I mean, it was really special to like look around and see all these people from the neighborhood who've been coming. And it's to me, I'm like, you all deserve this. Like, you know, but yeah, it was exhausting too, because like I wanted to make sure we said thank you like every day.
Right.
Yeah.
I would go basically on camera every day and read every person, be like, thank you.
Yeah.
So, but that's good. I mean, it was worth it.
It was totally worth it. And now people feel invested, you know, they see us driving down the street, or when we pop up, they're like, I love the band, looks great, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like, thanks for donating. We appreciate it. Yeah, so it's really good. It's really cool.
There's something about pop-ups. Like people love a pop-up pizzeria, especially when, you know, you throw it out there and people are like, okay, where are they going to be? How do I find them? Do people pre-order their pizzas with you, or is it just sight on seeing first come, first serve once they get there?
It really depends on the situation.
Almost always it's first come, first serve.
Yeah.
We have a couple locations where we allow the pre-order because of the nature of the location. And that's one of the great things about pop-ups is that every location is unique.
Yeah.
And we find that our regulars and followers, they're discovering new spots by following us.
Yeah.
So it's great. You know, we can help expose this business or that business.
Right.
But yeah, so one location in a neighborhood, we do allow that.
Right. Just because it's right in the middle of an actual neighborhood too. It's got a little corner store and a little art gallery, but everything else is houses. So we allow for it there. But those are tough. The pre-orders are tricky because you're not in the kitchen, you know, and like you got orders like, all right, you got a line in front of you, and now there's these orders coming up that need to be ready in, you know, 20 minutes or whatever, and you're just like, oh.
This is a very fine balance. You know, we put a cap on the amount of online orders so that we can also make sure the walk-ups are served.
Right.
Sell out a lot, and people end up getting disappointed. You know,
there's a little disappointment, but then, you know, a little bit of like, next time, you know, I'm coming earlier next time.
You create demand in that way. As long as it doesn't make them angry, it makes them just more excited to find you next time. Maybe it's a balance, right?
It is.
It's a total balance, and we're not coming out with like enough doughs to sell like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? We really aim to meet the window
as close to the end time as possible. But you know, sometimes you show up 30 minutes before closing, it's too late.
Yeah.
So
So I'll end with this question. What what are you guys most excited about with Miller Butler?
Good question. What are we most excited about? I think I'm most excited about getting into our own space and just like, you know, showing what we could do. You know, like we've got a lot of things up our sleeves. We started off with pasta. We still can do pasta. I think once we're able to like,
we need more space and more.
Once we're able to get into a space where
we
we're
can
able
do
to
that.
like, bring the fresh pasta and do the yolis and all that other cool stuff. Like I think that's gonna be fun, and we're doing like sandwiches and different things that like we just can't do at every pop-up. We have to like pick and choose. But I feel like once we're in a space and we can really show out, like sky's the limit. So I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, I'm kind of, I'm aligned with all of that as well. I'm really excited for the opportunity. I feel like if we set our intentions and really continue to build a great team, we can do so much. Our work has landed us in a lot of really great, opportunities and locations and things that I'm like, I want them to experience this,
Yeah.
Them being our team. And I'm really excited for us growing together, and each one of our team members contributes something unique.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are taking on more responsibilities now and positions of leadership. And so being a business that started with just him and I, you know what I mean? It's really difficult to make that transition, to even know what that looks like, to have other people doing this. It's hard to explain, but I'm sure these other users probably can relate. So to see that growth happening is really exciting. And just to see where our home base lands, that's pretty much where I'm at.
Yeah. That's amazing. Well, we cannot wait to continue to follow your journey. Keep us posted. And when you have big developments, make sure you share them with us so that we can update folks on what's going on when you do get that commercial kitchen, or you do get into your own place. We definitely want to know about those things. And congratulations again on being recognized as a rising star. We're stoked to see how you grow, and when I get to LA, I'm gonna find you.
Yes, let us know.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you so much.
The mention and the support, like that was huge. I mean, opening up the mailbox and like seeing our faces right there was like
what? So for those of you that don't know, we keep that secret. Like we don't share who we put on the cover until it's out there.
That was great. We really appreciate that.
Yeah.
We need to get some new pictures. Everything we ever do is like the same exact pictures. Like we're like,
hey, you'll have that. You'll have that going. But yeah. So if you haven't read the article, make sure y'all get to the article and read about them, and follow Miller Butler on socials. I know I included that, and I'll include it in this podcast as well. And we'll just keep watching your success. Okay.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much.
All right. Thanks. All right. You guys take care.